Ms. Darl, the economist at the University of Rhode Island, has suggested that the state have a panel of leading economists in the state who actually review many of these proposals that come before the state, rather than having those people who are in actual...
I'm sorry, could you start from the beginning, because I didn't really quite hear. I heard the word economist, and that was about it.
And that just threw you.
No, actually my sister's an economist, so I get some help from her.
Darl, who is the economist at the University of Rhode Island, puts out his consumer confidence index on a monthly basis, and has suggested that the state, rather than leave it to consulting firms that are brought in to evaluate a number of these proposals, that the state instead have a panel of leading economists from within the state who do that due diligence and provide an independent and strong opinion, feeling that in fact consultants are being paid by somebody to be able to do that work.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I think that that's something that should be done within the state. And we have 10 colleges and universities, Ivy League, as well as some of the most top business schools around. So I think that there's a pool of individuals that could provide that information. And quite honestly, we have if I'm not mistaken, a governor who's an Oxford-educated economist. So I would think that she would be able to at least be someone who would be able to select individuals who have that type of merit and have that skill set.
The issue really, of course, and because a lot of times they're politically influenced, we're finding they're appointed by a governor that's trying to spin numbers sometimes, or by certain political individuals. And I believe we definitely need independence when it comes to financial studies. Right now, 70% of college graduates leave our state when they graduate. That's a U.S. News and World Report. And as far as family prosperity, we're ranked 45th. I'm going to say it again, we're ranked the 50th worst for business in the United States. And these are numbers that affect my family, that affect my kids who are graduating high school and college, and affect yours. That's the reason why Newport and Jamestown have lost 50% of their population in the last 40 years.
I think the question, in those great statements, I think the question was whether or not you would support the appointment of an independent panel of economists from within the state to evaluate these proposals.
I said that right from the beginning, yes.
Yes, I would support that. I think it would be a great idea. I have worked with outside consultants from work in the past, and I did find them to be extremely professional, and they were extremely interested in what goes on the ground here. I was very lucky to work with the Brookings Institute when they came here to work on economic development for the state, and they were very interested in meeting with me because they knew that I had taught here in the state, taught our students. And, I found them to be extremely interested in what goes on the ground, what goes on with students and teachers, what goes on to prepare students for the jobs of tomorrow. So while I would certainly be in favor of that, I am very much in favor of using consultants that are the best as well.
Yes, I would absolutely support that. I would also put a caveat on it that the selection of those panelists is very important, that process. I know over the years we've had different discussions about how to select judges, how to select different appointed positions, so I think we need to be very mindful about how those individuals are selected, what that process looks like, and make sure that everything is transparent and that we're collecting a variety of interests. As I mentioned, do business law as part of my law practice and going through the due diligence process when companies are doing investments or purchasing. It's quite a diverse process, and it really depends on who you have sitting at the table as far as what the recommendation is going to come. So just because they have economists after their name doesn't, we need to do a great job at vetting that process.
Yes, I absolutely think that we should look towards individuals that are experts in the field of economics if we're talking about economic issues. And I'm also certain if we talk with some of these economists, they're not going to tell us that the reason or how we can stimulate economic growth is by letting the free market economy just take care of itself, right? It's just going to take care of itself on its own, and jobs are miraculously going to fall from the sky. I'm sure what they're going to tell us is that one of the things we've got to do is increase the top marginal tax rate for our wealthiest citizens. I'm sure another thing they're going to tell us is let's explore a single-payer healthcare system. that could potentially save every Rhode Islander in the first year alone about $2,000, and over the course of 10 years, about $4,000. No, there are studies that have been done. This is out there.
So John, the question was,
Yeah.
all right,
Yes.
yeah, so the question was, is we deal with a lot of consultants, and the concern of some of these economists, in fact, is that consultants often come with a preconceived notion. The idea would be to have independent economists chosen from our universities to be able to evaluate these various proposals.
They need to be vetted. They need to be the best in their industries, in their professions, and yes, I would be comfortable with it. But I also would be mindful of, because I've worked in government now as a city councilman for the last 30 months, I know when we've had studies done with certain groups, I know what happens with a lot of these studies. They hang on the shelf, they collect dust and spider webs. So it's something that if we are going to commit to, we have to be fully committed to. So yes, I would support that.
I too would support it. I think it's a great idea to hear what the minds out there are offering us in their job description on what they actually study and what they do as a profession. I think it's a great check and balance for those of us that may be immersed in some other issues and maybe getting a bunch of phone calls and we don't know how busy the budget times were and what have you. When you're looking at a global approach to what's good for the state of Rhode Island, we should absolutely be getting all of this input that we can from the entities of which you speak. I think it's a great idea, and I would embrace something